What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. Today we're going to be talking about Midzone, and there's also other changes going on within the game right now that it's very obvious that EA is doing whatever they want, and I'm not sure what the purpose of the continuous tuning is, because pretty much the year's over, right? You have the Madden Bowl, that's pretty much going to be the last major thing, unless they got something else up their sleeve that's going to be going on. It's not much more that they can fix, and there are things that are going on within the game that are just going to be what they are. It's going to be broken. The animations suck. You know, the predetermined animations where you know it's going to be an interception, the players don't fight for the ball, all that stuff. I don't believe, like some of you guys are asking me about, you know, Midzone right now, right? So in this video, what I did was I have Midzone on Cam Chancellor, right? Because I used to have Midzone on all my zone archetype players or the run stopper safeties. I used to have it on all of them. Then I realized something. It just stopped working. Then they brought it back, right? They brought it back. Midzone was a thing again. And then now it looks like it's not giving you the same oomph. Now, before you guys jump into it, because many of you guys have already been telling me this, but it's that tune that we just recently got where they did a roster update, it's more visible. So because of the way that it is right now, some of you are asking like, yo, Gmia, do I keep Midzone, don't I? Let me just be very, very clear with you. Currently, right now, I went back to Acrobat on the outside corners. And the reasoning that I did that is because when EA tunes one thing, something else becomes OP. Similar to the fact that everybody started running around with El Toro and doing stupid stuff. For me, El Toro is garbage. It probably works at max 2 times a game. That's not enough for your ability points because you have so few. So I always let you guys know, it has to make sense. So when you see my abilities, like I'll put Edge Threat, I'll put Edge Threat Elite, or, you know, Unpredictable, and I'll try it out and let you guys know exactly what's going on. The reason that I keep testing out different abilities and I don't keep what's there is because EA knows what they're doing. So the only thing, like, this is realistically how MUT used to work, right? You would get a good card, and that card would be good and play to the way that the card said for the entire time. Now, as other cards came out that were better, you would visibly see that the other cards were better because they were new and they had different attributes. That part of MUT has long gone. I don't think we'll ever see that again because at this point, the game is so random and it makes such indecisive decisions about who wins and loses. It makes it more exciting for the game for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, when EA Sports looks at it, they're like, oh my God, that guy won the game off of a tip pass that was fluky, or he dropped a wide open pick that was right in his hands. You know, like these type of things that are in the game, it wasn't typical when Madden was a decent game. And we're going back, I would say prior to Madden 15, you would be able to keep a bum card all year. Now, that pretty much gave us the option to upgrade when we wanted. It's like, all right, you know, the value of the card is what somebody's willing to spend for it. So if you have a card that is very expensive and it works, when a new card comes out, that card price drops. And then if you decide to go after that, that should be your prerogative. And EA Sports is like, no, you know what we can do? We can make it so that the cards that you're currently using, every time we're about to drop a new promo, we can make that card play different. Now, how they've been able to do it has been completely fascinating, but they've gotten a lot better at it. They don't even need, like, they'll do something like, all right, we're going to have downtime. The game will come back up, like, you know how to do server maintenance? The game will come back up and they'll add different things to the game without any title updates. If you guys follow the longevity of Madden, as technology has gotten better, they've been able to absolutely do, you know, put stuff into the game, alter it, and do all that without title updates. So that actually makes it a lot easier for them to do the things that we're talking about now, because there hasn't been a title update. So you're probably like, you know, if you're a new viewer, you're like, yo, what are you talking about? Midzone works for me. But you haven't really seen it and understood that when Midzone was at its height, the faster reaction times were so visible, you couldn't question it. Just like when they first, how many of you guys were playing the game when Josh Allen first got Gunslinger? Do you remember how fast that ball was getting there and that you needed to have Acrobat to be able to defend, you know, defend the receivers? Because the ball was so fast coming out. What did EA do? They tuned it. They tuned it so that the ball wouldn't come out as fast and that the defense had better reaction time to the gunslinger. Because it would, like I said, if they left that the way that it was, the game for the most part would have been a lot different. Obviously, they also upgraded, you know, updated the amount of AP that's needed for Gunslinger, which was stupid in my opinion. But other people were, you know, voicing their opinions, and for some reason, people listen to guys that don't know what they're talking about. And If you're a strong arm QB now, it should have been a benefit for you getting that gunslinger for 1. Now it costs 2. So with the way that everything has gone, even if we go back to like Madden, what was that, Madden 20? At the beginning of Madden 20 with Armbar and Zeke Elliott, right? There were a lot of people using the Dallas Cowboys in the regs, and dudes were getting punched in the face with Armbar was going wild. What did EA do? They nerfed it. If that's what the game is intended to do, I'm a firm believer that we should be the ones to adjust to what they put out. Because truth be told, they don't usually put out a bad game at the launch. It's the patches that destroy it. So if we as users are able to adapt to that and fix, figure out ways to do what we do, I think that would be more beneficial in the long run, but that's my opinion. If something is obviously ridiculous, I understand the patch. The problem is when they patch it, they create other problems with the game. They have not been able to do a successful patch that doesn't affect something else in a very, very long time. So because of that, we don't trust them fixing anything. So when we look at it right now with the way that they're tuning the game, you might look at it like, all right, yo, so they tuned Midzone, we'll do something else. There's not a lot of abilities that you can put in your secondary to where they're going to actually have a brain. Now, I will give them credit for this. There were a lot of cover 3, cover 4 beaters early on. They tuned the way that a lot of the zones react to those plays. So for the most part, you generally don't even need an ability on those outside safeties, unless you want to have it. It's the corners and your sub linebackers that really, really matter in the game. So you can get away with the way that they play it. You see the way that Derwin James was floating straight back in that deep third? If you go back to the beginning of the year, he would alter the way his movement was. And I'm very, very specific when I quick link and I go and put somebody in a certain zone, I watch to see how that zone plays. With the exception of the match principles, where sometimes it's just random and you don't know where the guy's gonna go. You're supposed to turn to man coverage if the guy leaves and does certain things. With the exception of that, the purple zones, the deep blues, the cover 2, all those things, those zones are relatively decent with the exception of the corner routes. Because even with the cover 2 blue, they won't play the corner route. That's been broken since, I want to say 16. It's been like 4 or 5 years that's been broken. Your safety just will not play attention. They won't pay attention. They won't play the area of the corner route. They'll run away from it. So people have taken advantage of that. And at some point over the last 3 or 4 years, rollout corners become a thing because the AI just doesn't know how to deal with it. And they haven't been able to figure out what's going on with it. So do I expect that to continue in Madden 22? Probably. If it's the same people doing it, more than likely that will happen. We'll find ways to defend it with additional things, playing the sticks, all kind of weird stuff. But usually what happens with these things with the abilities, because the abilities are so predominant, it is very important that you guys understand, it's not you going crazy. Because at first, I had to be like, yo, I might be going crazy, but yo, that's not working no more. Then the more that I saw it became more and more visible. Now it starts to make more and more sense. They're changing up the way that these abilities work for balance. So if you read their patch notes, it's always about balance. So if anything is going crazy and doing too much, their job in their minds is to adjust it so that it's not as OP. Even though we're willing to spend the ability points for those abilities, they still feel the need to adjust it. But they don't adjust the amount that we pay for it, which is another problem that I have. But I digress. This is the situation right now. You're going to notice some other things based on that last update, the last update they just did. For me right now, I'm noticing that Midzone is not what it was prior to the update. You may notice something else. Some of you guys are saying, yo, my guys are fumbling more often now. Maybe they did something to enhance the deflator with the enforcer. I don't know. But based on, my immediate reaction with the stuff that's been going on since yesterday, I have to go ahead and tell you right now, Midzone is not doing what Midzone used to do. So I got rid of Midzone on certain players and I'm running Acrobat currently on my outside corners, like I said earlier. Because I just feel that once they patch something up, something else has to work. That's the thing. We just have to figure it out. And the players that win the most games, they figure out the most fluke. That's all that this is about. There used to be a time where it was like, yo, user skill, all that stuff mattered. No. What is the play? What is the ability that makes me so much more OP right now? And that scheme is what I'm going to run. So you'll see dudes running goal line with tight ends. Dude, it's wild. But regardless of that situation, they definitely did. They nerfed it again. And now I don't know if Acrobat's going to be that thing, because I got rid of Acrobat because when they dive for it, the ball goes through their body and they go for 6. You know, the person that's on offense that you're playing against. So it is what it is. I just want to let you guys know you're not going crazy. Drop in the comment section what you've noticed since that most recent roster update, and let's talk about it. I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. You have an unbelievable day. One love, y'all.